I love yourself. Oh, here we go.
Here we go.
And drop.
Let's see here. And everybody ready?
Yes.
Let's do it.
I'm going to start that again. There it is. Welcome to Silicon Valley Impact, where business meets startup innovation. Brought to you live from Silicon Valley, California. Please give a warm welcome to your host and hostess, Brian Sparks and AJ Thomas.
Ooh, hello. Oh my, there's so many people here today.
Oh my God.
So many. Yes,
Love
thank
you,
you.
AJ.
Look at them all in the back. Look at them all in the back.
And they all
Sitting
came
on
from the
floor
Bonito
even.
Bowl. That's awesome.
Sitting on the floor. Thank you, Brian, for that.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Warm intro.
Absolutely my pleasure. You're welcome. Got a full house today.
Yeah, and we got a full house. Definitely a warm welcome because it's just pouring outside. Not to start the show talking about weather or anything, but come on, out here in Silicon Valley, we don't get what we're getting too often.
The amount of rain we're getting is so welcome. We just always need it. We always need more rain.
Yeah, and with ski week happening, definitely you snow lovers are going to be licking your chops to get off work and go up and play.
They're trapped on the 50 right now. That's fine.
Okay.
On the 80.
All right.
Yeah.
I want to welcome everybody.
Okay, great. That's it. We're done.
No. How was your week, Brian? 'Cause it's good to see you.
I had a pretty good week except for the rain. It bums me out, honestly. I mean, I know we need it and I like it for the reasons that are practical.
Yeah.
But I don't like gray weather. I don't like rain. It means I can't be outside playing. And
No pickleball for you.
No, I joined a gym. I joined the hub.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
you're
So
indoor.
now I'm at an indoor pickleball.
He's literally working it out right now.
I'm only just marking the minutes here before I can go play pickleball.
I wonder why you had your shorts on.
Yeah, basically this show is just in my way. Yeah.
All right, we'll power
It's just a
through it
speed
for
bump
you.
along the road to more pickleball.
I haven't taken it up yet, but I've heard a lot of good things. Maybe
You let
we'll
me know when you're ready, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, you let me
The
know when you're
hub
ready.
looks like a good spot.
And AJ, how have you been, my friend? We haven't had you here in a while.
I know. I think I got banned the last episode I came.
Well, the ban's been lifted, so good for you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm feeling great. I mean, I love the weather. There's so much going on with the rain.
Yeah.
So,
you love it. You're good with it.
I love it.
And we have, can I
Eva.
announce the special guest that we have?
Oh, we do.
There-
Yeah,
yeah,
we
there
have the
she is,
future.
yeah.
The future is in the room. That's
Yeah.
Ava
Yeah.
Thomas right there.
Ava Thomas is our studio
audience.
today. She was making a lot of noise.
From time
over
to time, we bring our daughters to work, and
That's right.
yeah,
We got to
Brian's-
show them what's
Brian's-
going
Bring
on.
your daughter to work day.
Brian's brought Dominic here, and
And you
he's
brought
been
Skylar here.
yes,
I think my daughter's been here too, hasn't she? I can't remember now.
I don't think she has.
Well, if she
Yeah.
ain't here, she's coming next.
Yeah, that's right.
All right.
I got so much going on with my camera right now. I can't get it right.
All
Okay,
right.
I'm going to let you carry on, Brian.
All right. Well, I want to welcome everybody to Silicon Valley Impact. I'm your host, Brian Sparks. That is Brian Bernasconi,
Hello, everybody.
and that is AJ Thomas.
Hello.
The purpose of the show is to have honest conversations about what it takes to build great businesses and communities so that you can make an impact within your own.
Within your own.
All right.
Oh,
So
nice.
Within
your own. Okay. That's for you, AJ.
I love it. I love it. You have taken my job. Why am I here?
Wait, I've never heard that side of you, Brian. That was.
When AJ comes in, she's a singer and she sings and she inspires me
Can
to
we do
want
an
to sing.
acapella?
With our Within Your Own song right there from from Aladdin.
We'll do it. We'll do it in the future. We'll bring in.
We will.
Isabel's a great singer. She'll beatbox,
Let's
sing.
do it.
Yeah, and then have you
Let's do
three
it.
sing, and I'll snap my
So
fingers.
we'll do
or
an
something.
entire musical
Yeah.
episode.
But right now, for the audience, we can say, "We can show you the world."
Yeah, I love it.
I am not a singer. All right, let's press on, you talented people.
All right,
All right,
here we go.
let's go. All right, well, we have not only do we have AJ Thomas in the house, we have two exciting guests that I'm super excited to talk about. We have Richard and Elena. Good to see you both. I'm going to allow you both to give your intro so that our audience can get to know you as I've gotten to know you. Richard, I'll let you start first. Give us a little intro about who you are and what you're working on.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. So just so you know, my friends call me Rich, and since you're my friends, we can actually go with that today.
Woo!
Oh, thanks.
So this is a special
Cha-ching.
moment, very special moment. So I have served at Amazon as the Chief EQ Evangelist and Worldwide Head of the EPIQ Leadership Program for the last several years. Beautiful. And it was an effort to bring emotional social intelligence to lots and lots of people. So we had the chance to actually impact over 1.5 million people to help them elevate their innovation, their performance, and their humanity all at the same time with social emotional skills. And I recently left and I founded my own company called the EPIQ Leadership Group. And it actually is spelled EPIQ. It means you need EQ plus IQ if you're going to thrive and succeed in this new world order driven by AI.
Love that.
Love it. That's good. Okay, so we're going to geek out on that because we had a great conversation. You and I believe, or at least I heard you speak years ago on a good friend of mine's podcast, Sean Flynn. He's got the Silicon Valley podcast.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Just he's a neighboring podcast.
It's a neighboring podcast.
Yeah,
Friend
same
of mine.
valley.
We support each
We're
other.
all friends here.
But it was a great talk. I'm excited to have you here. Thank you for joining us. And you and I are definitely going to geek out on this subject because for all of you who are founders out there, even VCs are looking to raise, and even those who are service providers in this space looking to build communities, what we're going to talk about today is your driver. It is what drives connection. It drives all things that you're doing. I love what you shared with me last week when we were talking on the phone, because I'm going to share it here. Is that EQ without tell me, I'm butchering it right now.
I can say it. So it's actually a quote from Satya Nadella, right, CEO of Microsoft. He said, for leaders, IQ without EQ is just a waste of your IQ.
Let that sink in. Put that on a t-shirt. Yeah. So we're going to dive into that. And again, for all of you who are founders and those who are looking to build community, which we love to do here, you're not going to want to miss this. All right. With that being said, Elena, good to see you.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm so excited to be here in such a great company.
Yeah, you guys got the red going on. So.
I know, we're matching.
Yeah, I love it. Love it. All right, so tell us a little bit about what you're working on and a little bit, introduce yourself to our audience.
Absolutely. My name is Elena. I'm the CEO and founder of inspace. We build an AI workplace agent for enterprises and mid-market. And essentially, it's a Jarvis for your workplace. But instead of serving one Ironman, it serves every single employee of your company and makes their employee experience drastically better while allowing you to save on operational costs and rent in general.
So we'll unpack what that is a little bit. Definitely let you get your pitch in because we want to hear kind of like the ins and outs of it. Also, what had you picking that space and what's next for you is going to be really exciting because you're in the midst of building a company. And I don't think this is not your first company. Or it
No,
is.
it's not. Yeah, it's also not my second. I became, I think I founded my first company when I was 16. I founded my second company when I was 17. I founded my biggest company so far when I was 25. Exited it like a decade
So just
later.
a few years ago, right?
Yesterday.
Recently, very recently.
I actually celebrated last week. I celebrated 13 years of being CEO and founder, just doing this like full time.
Yeah.
Cereal.
Yeah.
I love that.
And I spent more than 20 years working in this industry. So it's kind of like one thing led to another. And that allowed me to work for, again, like more than 2 decades with the same exact customers that I love so much. And I had a chance to witness like all of the transformation that was happening in the workplaces from, having dedicated offices to moving to open spaces and then to flexible workspaces. And then the pandemic happened. So that obviously, changed a lot in the way we see offices. And then, hybrid became a thing. And now we're witnessing what is happening
Back in real life. Yeah.
Yeah, when people are coming back to the offices more and more and more, and people are really trying to figure out like what offices will be, like how they're going to look like in the future. And my angle is always like employees. Like we are.
So talent is your thing. You love the hunt for talent. And what I definitely want to dive in with you about, and obviously a lot of our audience are founders, is what have been kind of your high level insights on what makes a company grow. And then of
What
course,
stalls it.
what stalls it.
Yeah.
And then what's held you back. And then what got you into, at 16 years old, that's a pretty young age to say like, okay, I can solve these problems.
That's right.
So we'll dive into all of that.
Speaking directly to the audience.
I
by
am
the way.
pretty much. Yeah, she will. I won't. She will. Yeah. All right. So with that being said, we'll definitely weave both your stories in us together. We have the founder, we have the EQ insight, and again and then
I love
AJ.
that. In so many ways, it just feels like it's home for me right now.
Yeah.
with
Well, you've
both
got the
Rich
Troublemaker
and I.
Lab.
I do have the Troublemaker Lab. It's a founder and team accelerator. And so we work on the future with founders and also enterprise teams that are starting new business units And our center is really around self, health, and wealth of what those leaders look like.
Wow. I love that.
Then I have a fund, of course, Good Trouble
Yeah.
Ventures. We invest in the intersection of technology, creativity, and culture. So lots of things going on there where we can kind of lace in also the things I'm doing with Block Party, which is community oriented as well.
That's so impressive.
And you are big on talent, so we'll
Absolutely.
You're going to transform.
We can talk a little bit about that too.
We'll be a transform. Are you going to transform, Elena? Are you familiar with
Oh,
transform?
you must be a transform. Both of you must be there if you're working.
Should
on
I?
it.
I'm going to be on vacation during that time in
all right.
Asia and South Korea and Japan, but otherwise I'll be with you in spirit.
What a flex!
Yeah, but
I love that.
I actually love that troublemaker lab. Awesome. It reminds me of Paul Graham when he talked about the kind of people that he looks for in founders.
Mm-hmm.
He said one of the 5 characteristics was naughtiness, and so I love how that connects. You're helping
Absolutely.
foster naughtiness that helps founders be successful.
I like that.
Very
I'm
cool.
stealing that. Okay. All right. Well, I
Yeah.
love to steal great insight from our guests, and so let's dive into it. Rich, I want to ask you a little bit for those of who are listening and of hearing this idea about EQ for the first time, and maybe even dismiss this a little bit. I understand that there's a program at Stanford. It's a touchy-feely class, but it's one of the most popular classes in the business. In the business.
Yeah, I've taken that class actually.
In the business school. So talk a little bit about what are we talking about here when it comes to EQ, and what got you into it?
Yeah, so when it comes to EQ, I love this quote from Simon Sinek. One of the things he says is 100% of customers are people, 100% of investors are people, and 100% of employees are people. If you don't understand people, you don't understand business. And the reality is there are a lot of people who are driving business and they think, I have a great product, I have great technology, I'm really smart, got a great founding team. But if they don't actually have these people skills, business will be suboptimal. It will not thrive. And so that's actually what EQ is about. So EQ, of course, is shorthand for emotional intelligence. And it's really the idea of knowing how to manage your own emotions and knowing how to manage the relationships around you for mutual benefit.
Now, is it just knowing, like, if I see somebody who is feeling something, is it just the capacity to label it and go, oh, you're feeling sad, and let's talk about that? But is there more? Does it expand a little bit?
Yeah, not at all, actually. It's not just that is one small facet. One of the biggest myths about emotional intelligence is that it means being nice and warm and fluffy. It is absolutely not. Like the kind of emotional intelligence that I actually have been helping people develop is, you can almost think of it as hardcore EQ. It's like EQ for the real world. Things are uncertain, they're ambiguous, they're moving really quickly. You have to be able to adapt and innovate in real time and be able to help other people go along with you to do it. And that's what it's actually like. So, one of the teams that actually, funny enough, has really high EQ is the Navy SEALs. In order to be able to operate in these really dynamic environments where life and death is actually at your door, you have to have a lot of EQ to be able to get some good things done. So
Elena's
she's really liking
we
this
got a
one.
nice little bubble over here, bubbling up. What's bubbling up for you, Elena?
So what does that mean? I mean, double click, and then we're going to come to Elena about what's over there, what resonated with her. But talk about why, for high-performing people like founders, this is important.
Yeah. So the fact is, if you're going to, most founders are technical founders. They're super smart. They've got a lot of technical competency and all that. But they think that is enough. And when you're trying to build a culture that is innovative and able to continuously adapt, you have to be able to have certain qualities that are personal and also interpersonal. And one of the interesting things about founders, referring to that Paul Graham article, he talked about 5 things that are actually key for what he looks for in Y Combinator. And determination, right? Naughtiness, creativity. And one of the ones that was surprising was friendship. Because he said that one of the biggest challenges with founding teams is that they basically split up because they can't get along. They can't figure out a disagreement.
That's true.
And so one of the most damaging things to a new company is, when the founders basically hate each other's guts and one of them or two of them split off. And so being able to actually have those interpersonal relationships is really key to be able to have long-term success.
And EQ's in like when you were talking about EQ and kind of being able to dial in, I mean, that also is like in a mixing board, right? Dial in your volume up or down, whatever is needed. I love what you said around the founders being able to have that kind of friendship. I think that's really interesting because in a world where you're really governed by what's the term sheet say, what's the target this quarter, what does that look like, what are some of the great friendships you've seen in some of these very high performing teams? Like, what are some of those qualities?
Yeah. So obviously trust is a big one.
Yep.
Being able to actually continuously earn it. And not just because we've known each other for a while, but be able to repair trust when it's been broken, because that is absolutely going to happen in any
huge.
long-term relationship.
Huge.
The other one is certainly alignment, mission, passion. That's sort of the obvious one. Yeah, we're going to do something. We're going to change the world. We're going to make it happen. I'll tell you the one that seems to be missing a lot is knowing how to manage disagreement and conflict.
Yep.
Because when you're starting a company, it is really, really stressful. You, of course, know this. I mean, there's a level of stress that is, sometimes through the roof. And that can do weird things to you. Like you can actually erode trust or get into situations where whatever you had before isn't enough to be able to help you figure it out. And that takes both skill and also intention, right?
Yeah.
And so I help people develop those to be able to
I think
manage
starting is easy. The running is hard.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's kind of like in relationships, like love is not enough. Just like in startups, it's like the mission is not enough.
The passion for
You
it.
have
yes,
to have
enough.
all of the things that surround it.
Yeah,
To have
yeah.
a
So
capacity,
what I'm hearing
skills.
is one thing we talk a lot about on the show, and AJ, you'll know about this when it comes to investing in startups,
Right.
is you look for founder fit.
Absolutely.
And what I'm hearing is these are a lot of the internal qualities for founder fit. Now there's the external qualities, for example, what do they have a good idea? Is there experience in the market? There's the whole list.
Yeah.
But here, the internal makeup of the team, and this is kind of bringing in Elena on the conversation when it comes to talent and what you've built. Is emotional intelligence in your journey been a factor, and how have you built teams along the way and made these relationships similar to what Rich was talking about?
Yeah, I actually had a very interesting journey because, obviously, when you're 16 and it's your first company, no one has, high, you're not born with.
Not at 16. Yeah.
They're like, she'll.
Let's just
tire
go for it. We'll
later.
think about it later. Yeah.
Yeah. So and then I think I was a pretty terrible boss. So up until I started, the biggest company, and I was 25. So I can say that I was born with that. No one is. But then you kind of start to become better and better and better, and you learn from the best. You try to hire the best people and try to make sure that you can work with the best talent you can possibly find, and that allows you to grow and get to their level. And I just been incredibly lucky that I had a chance to work with some of the smartest people.
Amazing.
And learn from them and learn hard skills as well as soft skills.
What I mean, I asked you in the beginning, or I mentioned in the beginning, that we'd be talking a little bit. What were some of your biggest learns from your success and from your failures? Was there something that you learned about yourself in the building process? Meaning, you had to raise, you had to acquire talent, you had to earn the trust of customers, you had to pivot, you had to put things together, you had to solve, you had to pace yourself, then you had to accelerate yourself, and all the components of emotional intelligence being there. You may not have known at the time, but was there something that you learned about yourself in being an effective leader that really comes to the top when you look back?
Yeah, I think you need to learn to trust yourself. And sometimes when you enter a new industry where you don't know anything about, you kind of you doubt yourself and you try to find again really smart people and learn from them. But you also need to trust in your judgment as a CEO and in your vision, and making sure that you have enough respect for your team members, but you also can guide them in the right direction, and that what allows your company to be successful. So it's not just it's not enough to just hire the best people and just be chilling. It's not. It's not enough. You have to be the leader. You have to be compassionate. You have to drive forward. You have to make sure that everyone is accountable, and at the end, the company will be successful.
Yeah.
That's so huge right there, because I think we see that a lot with our founders, and we see it a lot in the different investments we have, because part of our diligence is really looking at that. And we don't call it soft skills, we call it their core skills, right? And so what you just said there is so important. Trust yourself. If you meet a founder that doesn't really trust themselves, how are they going to be able to trust others and what that looks like? And so you said something earlier around product market fit. And I think there's a founder market fit
Absolutely.
as well.
Absolutely.
Right. And you just really coined that along with what Rich just said. It's that trust is so important, and it is not touchy-feely, y'all.
Yeah.
I mean, trust, you can see that in the S&P 500.
Yeah. Well, truth can burn a little bit, right?
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely. And
Yeah.
it should if it's true,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
But
there's
how
a-
you react to it.
No,
is the biggest piece.
when I talk to leaders, I love talking about this thing called the tough love matrix of leadership. And it comes from Adam Grant, who's a really well-known author and professor out of Wharton. But he says that really there's these two axes when you think about leadership. There's care and there's expectations. And so you can have high or low of either one. It's a myth that they're mutually exclusive, but you can have, basically 4 domains.
Yeah.
And so in the startup world, you have to have, high expectations.
Yep.
Right. And so if you have low care, you're a demanding leader. But if you have high expectations and high care, you become an inspiring leader.
There
And
you
of course,
go.
that's what we
Absolutely.
want.
And you have to also provide them with the right resources.
Yeah.
That's right.
Speaking of resources, Brian,
What was that?
I just wanted to give a shout out. We're just going to take a brief moment to give a shout out to our sponsors, one of whom is Morales HR. So we were talking about talent and hiring the right people and having the right team and having EQ, right? Well, talent is one of your biggest competitive advantages. Wouldn't you agree, Brian?
Tell me more.
Talent is one of your most competitive advantages, but only if you hire right. Morales HR is a human-centered recruiting and executive research firm that is built for today's business demands. They deliver curated, high-quality talent when it matters most, right? From full-time to contract roles across North America, Morales HR connects you to the talent your company needs. These are real people with real experience, and they get real results. Right, AJ? That's
You've
what you're
gotta
looking
have
for.
results.
I love it.
So if you're
actually.
falling behind on hiring, or you're frustrated by low quality candidates, or you're worried about the rise of fake resumes or even fake candidates, go to moraleshr.com and experience a better way to hire.
I love Shelly Morales.
I love Shelley Morales too.
And now,
Back to the show.
back to the show.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Wow, it's like the ad fairy.
You guys were just the ad fairy. Yeah.
That's going to be my name going
those of
forward.
you
AJ.
listening,
Oh my gosh, there's the ad
too
fairy.
awesome.
You're like,
The ad fairy is on its
we didn't
way.
have a knock on the door like Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood.
Yeah.
I mean, we're trying something new, but I think it went pretty well so far.
That went really
And just to set
great.
everybody's expectations, we got another one coming in a little bit.
Oh,
the
I can't wait.
cliffhanger.
Yeah, okay,
I can't
total
wait.
cliffhanger,
Can't wait. I
right?
can't wait either.
Yeah,
The show is in our
And that
next
is because
episode.
we don't know who's coming next.
That's right.
All right.
Surprise
All right. But
guest.
who we have now?
Can we pick it up again now? Are we able
Yeah.
to pick the ball up and side down the
And
field?
we're back.
Bring it in. Reel it in, Brian. Yeah,
Reel
reel
it
it in. Brian and Brian, reel it in.
All right. All right. Here we
AJ.
go.
All right.
That's why I'm here.
Okay. All right. Well, we have with us now, we have Rich and Elena. And Elena, you were talking again about talent and what you're building. And so for our audience, because I know a little bit about what you're building, you and I have talked a little bit. Obviously, we're connected. So tell our audience, give us a little 1 minute, 2 minute pitch on what you're building. Give us the company name. And then we're going to go from there because what you're building is pretty cool.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your kind words. So inspace is an AI workplace platform that has AI workplace agent that allows you to do a lot of things that typically will require 10 people. So it creates a completely different experience. From the perspective of end users, employees, it's like a super smart executive assistant that knows them on a deep personal level. It knows them how they like to work, what makes them productive, because we are all different, and we all like to work in different environments. And from the perspective of a company, it's a workplace orchestrated that connects to all of their internal systems, from calendars to video conferencing, to catering, cleaning, smart building systems, access control, all of that. And from the perspective of investors, they see it as a Jarvis for workplace. But instead of a hologram, they get the video avatar that again knows everything about their office and can organize a lot of different things that significantly increases productivity of employees, but also the effectiveness of the space itself.
That's great. You know what? That would have been super lovely to have when I was back in my corporate days.
Your previous world.
Well, yeah, the previous world. I mean, for those who don't know, I served as a talent leader for a very long time, did the OD work, was a CHRO for a few years, doing a ton of these things. And I think that's so important because employees spend a lot of their times trying to figure out the logistics of the space.
Absolutely, yeah.
That they don't have the capacity to actually bring that brilliant work you hired them for because they can't get the internet to work, or they don't know where the thing is that needs to go here, or, there's all of these different things.
They can manage all of that through inspace. whether it's, a web platform or it's a mobile app, or if they use Slack, they can do it in Slack, or if they use Teams.
And it's multimodal.
Yeah, absolutely. So, they can do everything, from like booking a desk, booking a room to like throwing an event for their team members.
Wow.
And also like all of your like service requests from like, spill the coffee to.
So it's an operating system to manage internal communication, all these moving parts that HR would eventually have to juggle.
So if we're in an office right now and I'm using your product and I'm in a meeting with all of you and we say, hey, we need to meet again on Tuesday, I can say, hey, can you schedule a meeting for us on Tuesday
Absolutely.
at blah, blah, in Plutonium? I don't know, whatever the conference room is.
Then you also get the right calendar invites, and also we will remember who likes
I don't have
coffee
to put
which
all
way,
that in there.
who likes, oat milk latte, who is vegan, who is allergic to gluten, all of that.
That's all in there.
Oh my gosh, that's hours of work that's saved.
But what was when you
Absolutely.
start putting this together? What was the pain point you realized? You go, I got to solve this.
Yeah. So I spent again many years creating this beautiful, innovative physical office spaces. Me and my team, we've completed over 750 projects worldwide. We worked on some of the biggest projects in the world, up to 5 million square feet. I became a Businesswoman of the Year in actually manufacturing.
See, these are the things that we discover in our shows. It's
exactly.
like, I just dropped out there as a business. We don't need to buy.
So as I was building this beautiful, innovative physical spaces, I quickly realized that we needed a toolkit to effectively manage the set space. And again, we started with like some of the basic features, and then we like, desk booking, room booking, we've added visitor management and workplace analytics. And then again, we've added the AI level, and then we added generative AI, and then workflows, and then agentic AI, and then physical AI. I'm talking about robots.
So let me say this, sorry to cut you off, because I think this is so good, and there's a contrast that I want to put out here for you founders, so lean on this. So what I'm hearing is that you were running your company, had an internal pain point, and you built something to solve that. And the reason why I wanted to point this out is because so many people, and the reason why I ask this, will say, well, I was, sitting around and I thought of this idea. And then they fall in love with their idea.
There's solution looking for.
Yeah, there's solution looking
customer.
now for a problem or a customer, but you had an internal problem.
We love our customers. So this idea actually came from one of our customers. And he came to us and he was like, okay, I need like a product. And I'm like, sure, like, let me help you. Let me see what's out there. And I
Hold my beer.
I can't, like, again, we truly love our customers, and we have like the best customers, honestly. So when they come to me and they're like, okay, we need someone, I'm like, okay, let me figure it out how I can make this happen. And we contacted the, quote unquote, leader of the market at that time. And it took them like 4 months to come up with a like simple Excel spreadsheet. And I'm like, if it takes you 4 months, like you don't have a product. So,
Okay, like put that in there real quick.
and then it was like, I don't know, $200,000 for like 200 desks. And my customer was like, by the way, they had a really nice budget, but they were like, nah. So that made me realize that A, there is a need. B, they have a budget, but just, not that budget. And then the leader of the market doesn't know what they're doing. So I saw a market opportunity, and that's how InSpace started. And then I saw that the market is growing really quickly. And I always wanted to build a big global international company with customers all over the world, and now we are still an early stage startup, but we have customers in 18 countries.
Wow.
Last week I traveled like literally around the world because I was trying to meet a lot of customers in different parts of the world, and that's the story of InSpace.
I love it. And so I want to weave in the EQ component here.
Totally.
It's you saw a problem, felt the pain point, understood it, and brought a solution. And now, Rich, if we kind of pivot to you, this is one of the cornerstones of emotional intelligence, is you have this not only internal awareness of yourself, but awareness of others, and an empathy for what they may be experiencing, and bring a solution.
Presence.
Yeah, there's a presence.
Yeah.
And so oftentimes it's reversed. That's why I asked the question, where were you and came up with this idea? Because a lot of people will just be like, hey, I have a great idea, but don't understand where it needs to fit. How can founders deploy emotional intelligence as their strategy in going to market when it comes to empathy and understanding others?
Yeah, I love the question because this actually is a great melding of the EQ plus IQ, thus EPIQ, right? So, Dr. Daniel Goleman, who's, one of the world's foremost researchers and writers about EQ, he says that this idea of empathy and understanding where other people are coming from, their pains, challenges, hopes, and dreams, is the sort of pinnacle when you take all the EQ skills and put it together. And so this idea of really understanding the pains and perspective taking and then using your IQ to create a solution is so powerful because then you are actually helping people's lives be better, helping them be more successful, helping them be happier. And this idea of falling in love with your own idea, that happens a lot because people aren't self-aware, right? They don't realize that I'm actually really sort of consumed by my own thoughts and I don't have enough data from outside of me to inform whether or not this is actually true. And so be able to change your mind and pivot, that actually is pretty hard.
Well, there's a component here of self-regulation as well, because you're going to have your initial response to your own idea. You can get excited, like, oh my God, I just came up with the greatest idea. I got to write this down. I got to share it. I got to go sell it. Or you can suspend that, or the opposite. Maybe it could have been, Elena, in your situation where you hear something you don't have and you go, but we don't do that. We don't do that. You put up a wall, but you suspend that. You regulate either side of the emotion depending on your situation, and you learn more about what someone else needs, and then find what action to take. So there's a suspension there. There's a self-regulation.
Well, and one of the biggest needs today in this world that we live in, where it's incredibly uncertain, very complex, constantly changing, the World Economic Forum says that adaptability and flexibility and empathy are the key skills people need to survive. Now, technical skills are kind of like table stakes. Like, okay, I use AI. Well, that's going to be like the internet. I mean, okay, I use the internet. I mean, that's great. But really, you need to be able to constantly flex both emotionally and cognitively to be able to meet the needs as more data comes in. Because no one knows what it's going to look like in 2 years. No one knows what it's going to look like in 6 months. And so the ability to actually constantly challenge your own thinking, challenge what's going on internally, so you can actually produce a better product, better responses.
So I'm going to use Elena as a case study here with her own experience. I'm trying to weave this together here. But before I kind of pivot that in, so what does that look like? So what I believe is there's a lot of people who have a unconscious competence. Like they don't know how they do things well. That's why the best players in sports don't Curry. But they won't become great coaches because they don't know how they do what they do well. They have talent, they just hone it in. But then there's coaches who are never great players.
If you can't teach, is that what you're saying?
But what I'm saying here is there's a lot of founders who may have an unconscious competence about how they do that well. But then there's others who just have an unconscious incompetence where they don't know how that they're doing things.
It's always a spectrum.
There's always a spectrum. So how do you educate a founder to raise their awareness of these skill sets as the kingpin strategy in order to be effective? Like, where do you begin with this?
Yeah, so a little bit about myself. I'm actually somebody who went through that cycle of unconscious incompetence to conscious incompetence, and then to conscious competence, and then now obviously it's become more natural. So like you, in my youth, my EQ was extremely low. No one would have accused me of having any at all, and that's because I decided I wouldn't have any. Right? And I focused all on IQ, and I actually did really well. You know, I got a perfect score on the SAT. I got in every college I applied to. I studied electrical engineering, computer science. So, you know, pretty good IQ, but something was dramatically missing from my repertoire, right? And that was the social emotional skills. So when I talk to founders, the main thing I do is I do not come with the product, just like we're talking about. I say, what are the challenges you're facing right now in growing your business and scaling, in finding your product market fit, in acquiring customers and getting investors? And they will tell me 10 times out of 10, it has to do with social emotional competencies. And then I say, what business challenges you're facing that, you know, these could actually help? And then we talk about those things. And so it's helping them first identify what are the pains and challenges and goals, and then basically being able to fit in and go, okay, very much so on the core skill side are the things that they're going to need.
You both talked about this, you know, early days of not really having that. What was the watershed moment for each of you when you realized, oh, I need that? Like, could we do like a little bit storytelling there?
Absolutely, yeah.
Can you tell us a little? Give it like super juicy.
Lean in, everybody.
Give us some emotion.
Family friendly here, though, right?
Yeah,
That's right.
keep in mind, like I was like a pretty big nerd when I was growing up. So,
Nerds rule. All right.
Hey,
yeah,
Nerd
absolutely.
Nation.
I was like, I went to university when I was like 15. I studied laser physics again. Big nerd. EQ, that was not about it. I was like smart and, but I wouldn't say like I knew how to talk to people necessarily. But when I started again, like my first company and then my second company, they were both successful, but like I knew that if I actually want to manage teams, I need to really like elevate my skills a little bit because like that was, they were like non-existent. And
what was the moment when you learned that, though?
I learned that I love money, and in order for me to make more money, I need to become better at that. And I pushed myself. I went from not being able to to talk to people at all to I pushed myself to talk to like a lot of people, and I also had like a corporate career to like help me navigate through like all of that and learn again from great managers and improve my social skills. And again, I worked in business development, which is like a field where you talk to like hundreds of people and you go to all of these events. And I went from like an introvert that doesn't know how to talk to people at all and only knows like science and like math and physics to having to go and talk to people all day, every day. And then like I became, I actually landed like a director role when I was like 20, and by like 24, I was running the whole company. There were 3 owners and me running the whole thing. And I had to grow really, really fast. And again, I made a lot of mistakes, obviously, as a young manager. But in order for me to be successful, I knew that I have to constantly work on my skills, and I will never stop working on them.
But there's let's pause for a second there, because there's a value hack in what you just said. We kind of giggled at it when you said I love money, right? But the truth of the matter is, if that's what's important to you, there's like a value hack to it. Now, it's not, whatever we all choose to do with money, it's on you, but, there's a value in there to us. It may be survival. It may be a sense of self or belonging, acceptance, some sort of value. And in order to do that better, you've got to kind of hack into it in order to get better in other ways.
Right.
So for example, if you're poor at relationships, right, but having a family and connectivity or any other value is important to you, then learning communication and emotional intelligence and empathy, you hack it. You stack those values. How am I doing, Richard?
Oh, doing great.
Okay.
Fantastic.
All right. So
Did I just hear you say stack, Brian?
I heard you say stack.
Yeah. I thought I heard
Fairy's
it, so I would
back.
take the cue.
Yeah, well,
Can I interrupt you here?
yeah, absolutely. You couldn't have done it any better. And I want to talk a little bit about Stack Ventures.
I mean, it's no laughing matter. This is important stuff.
May I?
No.
Yeah, I would.
May I?
I would really appreciate it, actually.
All right, I want to talk a little about Stack Ventures, because they are transforming a real estate into a full stack ecosystem. Did you know this?
Yeah,
I know this now.
I've heard rumors.
Yeah, the full stack ecosystem solution for East Bay residency and global startups, backed by my good friend at Baring Capital.
Yeah.
Colin, he's here.
Good friend of the show.
Yeah, good friend of the show. Located in the heart of uptown Oakland at 1900 Broadway.
1900 Broadway.
And 1950 Franklin.
1950 Franklin.
Stack Space has 2 towers, 3 now, because of the data
No,
center.
not 3.
Oh.
There's more.
Okay.
And
wow.
there's more.
With 1.5 million square feet of luxury living, event
a lot.
space, resort-style amenities, EV, mobility, office space, and access to the biggest startup community in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
Check out stackspace.com. That's STAK, stackspace.com.
Wow.
Whew.
Brian,
Catch your breath, everybody.
beautifully
That
done.
sounds like a project for InSpace.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely does. And it also makes
Oh,
me
no,
want
it really is
pancakes.
an awesome space.
Yeah.
I mean, this whole stack thing is no joke.
Yeah.
It's for real.
amazing.
It's
Yeah,
awesome.
if you haven't seen it, you got to.
Come tomorrow. We have an event.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
and
actually was
now
invited by my investor, so thanks so much. Yeah.
You're going to be there?
Yep.
Oh, she's going to be on the panel.
Yeah.
AJ, well, this is airing next week. So last week, AJ, you were on the
You were
panel.
on the panel.
You were amazing.
Last week I
Yeah.
was
Yeah,
amazing.
absolutely.
This is so great.
Stunning.
We got a ton of events out there, so you all can join anytime. But let's go back to the show. Everyone need
Yes.
to calm down.
Silicon Valley Impact Time-Space Continuum.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, welcome.
And we're back.
And okay, what were we talking about? We get carried away with these exciting
The ad fairy
the
just
ad fairy.
gets
And
us.
important messages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always
The
having fun in
universe.
here in Silicon Valley, in fact. Sorry. Okay, so emotional intelligence. We're talking about how founders can use this insight
Value hack.
and these value hacks in order to stack their ability to grow. Because again, as you led with, Rich, in the beginning, it's this game of business. It's all about people. No matter where we go, I believe with the AI technology, it's still going to be built on trust.
Right.
And so, Elena, you were talking about how mistakes, a sense of need and quick growth in your 20s, in this corporate job, in this business, your love, quote unquote, of money and wanting to win, right, was really kind of your motivator. What were some other moments of growth when it came to scaling yourself? Because you really got to grow as an individual if you're going to grow as your company. Did you learn from this process?
Well, customers are, the best teachers, and them allowing me to work on their projects year after year, that what allowed me to gain this experience. And as the company grew, and like at some point we had more than 100 employees, obviously, I had to go through a lot of different stages. You start by yourself, you have your first employee and you're like, wow, okay. And then you have your first 10, and then you have your first 20, and then you have to hire middle managers. So it's a whole different it's a whole different game every time you kind of step up. And then you have over 100 employees, and some of them they're they don't know your name. And that's what gets so interesting, because you have to constantly evolve as a leader, as a CEO, and now running inspace. It's so exciting. I have the best job in the world.
But so what I've heard from a lot of people who do this well, and Rich, step into this with me. One that we were talking about earlier is how do you grow in this space? How do you become more aware? And what I'm hearing from Elena's story is that, and what I've heard from a lot of people who've been on the show, is they really need to be curious about themselves and others to make sure that there's a fit. How can we, again, continue to grow this skill set as the company grows?
Yeah, and I love this phrase that for leaders, what got you here won't get you there.
Exactly.
And the fact is, every ambitious leader is trying to get there. And so sort of keeping that goal and going, where am I trying to get, and what are the things that are helping me get there, and what are the things that are maybe hindering me from getting there? And so that's really the driver, right? And you mentioned sort of values and motivators. The research has actually found that you can sort of put them in about 4 general buckets. Right, every human being has 4 core things, and it spells RAMP, actually. It's relationships, autonomy, mastery, and purpose. Okay. And the things that we actually try to sort of get really in many ways serve one of those things, right? Even something like success or achievement or money or resources, they generally are feeding one of those 4 or multiple ones. And so if we can actually tap into that, then that actually really sort of supercharges our own motivation. Yeah. And one of the biggest things that I've worked with thousands and thousands of C-level executives, from founders of startups to the world's largest companies. And one of the really interesting things that I find today is that the biggest challenge for most executives, people think, hey, what's the thing that kind of brings the most embarrassment, or even like Brene Brown, shame? People think it's failure, but it's not. It's actually insignificance. That if you're an ambitious person, to be insignificant is literally the worst thing that can happen to you. And so finding sort of that as a helpful motivator to go, hey, I don't want to be insignificant in this world that's rapidly changing. I need more in my skill set to get me there.
Okay, so that hit deep. I think that is not only true in business, but just in interpersonal relationships. Because if an argument makes you feel insignificant in the contribution of the whole, then you disengage. But I think then shame kind of comes up through those cracks, and now you don't know what you're arguing for.
Yep.
You're just arguing to win for self-preservation.
It's about being right.
Yeah, it's self-preservation, but really what you're defending is this feeling of, I feel insignificant.
Yeah. Well, and you've actually just typified one of the main reasons founders actually split. They may say that, well, it's a difference of opinion, it's a different in direction, it's a different in, whatever, some IQ-oriented thing. But it's actually almost always in this emotional realm. Same with marriage, by the way, and also parents and kids. I mean, it's not the thing you're talking about on the surface. There's this deeper thing that's actually at play.
Yeah. Ooh, everyone just let that cook. Yeah, I love it. Okay. And so Elena, as you've been building your teams and hiring, and as you engage your customers, does any of this like give you that aha moment where you go like, I remember that, I saw that, and how did you deal with the integration of, or not integration, but the scaling of your team, of your company? What other insights could you provide, not only from a strategy perspective, but from this EQ perspective as well?
Mm-hmm. That's a very interesting question. So you have a series of aha moments. Mm-hmm. And again, when you go from 1 to 20 to 50 to 100 and 100 plus, mm-hmm. You have a lot of different moments. And some of them are painful, and some of them they're really nice. Mm-hmm. So you have to go through all of them. You're not going to become mm-hmm. better until you really go through all of that experience. Mm-hmm. So some of my favorite moments were that you have to try to hire again the best people that you can possibly hire. You have to hire the smartest people, the most hardworking people, people who really believe in your product, and people who believe in your vision. Mm-hmm. Then you have to let them do their job. And I don't know if I agree with the significance of it mm-hmm. necessarily, because sometimes the best managers, they try to make them as insignificant as possible and try to remove themselves from the decision-making process, just so they're not going to be the bottleneck, and give the more autonomy to their teams. So again, every manager, some of them they're very authoritarian, some of them they're more chill, but and again, everyone has their own style. I can definitely tell that I learned to trust my team. And I learned that you can only do that by hiring the right people. So hiring the right people and giving them a lot of autonomy and a lot of direction.
I love this, what you're saying, because again, I want our audience to hear this, because actually it's both. Because we've had, one of my favorite things, we just mentioned Colin, he said he learns to fire himself in 90 days. He'll create mm-hmm. something as the driving force, and then fire himself to put someone else in. And I think what that does, and this is one of these hugely competent moments, maybe unconscious competent moments, where you are giving people the ultimate significance by saying, I need to step away, mm-hmm. right? Or hire someone who can allow whoever is under them to do their thing. I think that is one of the most wisest and empowering things to someone's significance. So you're actually validating, I think.
And I will add to that the right talent will see that.
And thrive.
And thrive. But the wrong talent who is misaligned may see that as, you're abandoning me. I don't have a process. I don't know what to do. I don't have the structure. Yeah. So what is that what is that thing that you look for when you are interviewing somebody, for the founders in the room?
If I could actually say something, I love what you said, and I appreciate the clarification, because significance is your own personal feeling that you have accomplished something important. Mm-hmm. And some people try to do it directly by, I'm the man, I'm the woman, and they try to take it for themselves. You're describing actually a much better way of being significant, which is I made impact on other people's lives and help them be successful.
Yeah.
And so for people who have that kind of sort of motivation, that's actually the most significant thing they can do. So I love how you clarified that.
I love that.
Thank you.
So what do you look for when you are interviewing leaders for your company?
So when you hire your first 10 people or first 20 people, you definitely mm-hmm. want to hire only people who can work by themselves. They need to be highly independent.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Hear that, and founders?
Also, and they need to not look for your direction so much, mm-hmm. but more kind of know, okay, there's a problem, I'm going to go and solve it. Mm-hmm. And they know that they have to be accountable for that. Mm. You can hire different type of people, later, once you have middle managers who will be really good and given specific direction. But first, 10, 20 people, you need to only hire people that can, be hard workers, but also people who can work independently. Mm-hmm. Because mm-hmm. you as a startup founder, you're not going to have time to, guide every single one of them. Once you cover that and you kind of go to middle manager, then you can hire great teachers and people mm-hmm. who will, be just great at day-to-day management and
mm-hmm.
running dailies and all of that. And then you, at some point, you need to become you have to provide great vision and guidance on a more like broader level. And less, micromanagement. But again, everyone's style is different. You still have to know and understand different parts of your company. You can't just
turn your back on it.
Turn your back on it. You still need to understand, as a founder, you still need to understand product, you need to understand development, you need to understand finance, you need to understand sales, you need to understand marketing. And then again, you have to give specific direction. Sell on your vision over and over and over and over again, because like your job as a founder, you are like in sales all the time. You sell to investors, you sell to your team members. But again, and hiring is also sales, everything is sales. And again, hiring the right people will either make your company, and also hiring wrong people, especially when it comes to, as you mentioned, like co-founders and their companies, can also break your company. So you have to be ultra strategic and smart and careful and cautious and just pay a lot of attention.
This is one. Go ahead.
Sorry, no, just to add this really cool tidbit to wrap a little bit of what you said there. I think that's important for distinction for founders to know that your first 10 hires are not going to look like your next 20 hires.
Absolutely.
And really being able to look at what those levers look like. Matt Oppenheimer, the CEO of Remitly, said this, and it will never leave my mind, is when you are a startup and think about your 3 people going to 4, the next person you hire is literally 25% of your company and 25% of the culture of your company.
Yeah.
And so how do you think about that in scales of just little teams and departments and what that actually looks like? So thank you for that, because I think there's going to be some really cool benefits around,
and there's something really powerful about that, right? Because this idea of actually thinking intentionally about what do I want to be my culture?
Yes.
Like, unfortunately, what happens to a lot of founders, they're like, we're all about the product. We really need really smart people. And then they don't think about what kind of culture. And so, I mean, you're describing at the early stages, right? There's a bias for action. There's ownership. There's like people who are self-motivated and do their thing without needing a lot of direction. And that's like a way of being able to think about, this is the kind of culture I want to create. And so it's a really big thing, right? Because founders really need to consider and go, as I scale, this first group is going to determine what the culture is going to be like. Absolutely. You don't want to wake up one day and go, I've got 100 people. And I don't really like what happened.
And a lot of people, they make this mistake. They hire like 50 people and then they're like, okay, what's our culture? Okay, let me write the mission.
Let me read you the vision. Oh gosh.
So I did it like, I decided to go a completely different direction, and I started with the vision and with my approach and what kind of culture I'm looking to build. And only after I defined, how exactly the company should look like, because I know what kind of company I'm trying to build and what are the requirements and what the company culture that I want to be a part of. Because again, you spend, as a founder, you work like, in my case, like 20, sometimes hours a day. You want to be a part of the great culture. And you want to make sure that, again, people who will be working for your company will have great experience. So finding the right people for the culture that you're, again, building, I think it's kind of crucial. And you can be a great fit for, certain group of people, and maybe you're going to be like, a terrible workplace for someone else. And obviously, not, it's not an expectation that everyone will be working like 12 hours a day. I know it's quite common in Silicon Valley, but finding the right people for your company culture is crucial, and it's going to make their life so much easier and just more, pleasant, and yours as well.
Yeah, well, what I'm hearing, kind of, there's a distinction. I may be just daydreaming, but I'm hearing there's the hiring of somebody for a role, and you kind of put them in a box. Like, I need you to do this. I need you to do A, B, and C, and that's kind of your cycle. Just do that. But then there's people you hire to give a responsibility that's required with growth. Right. And there's obviously crossover, but really when you get someone to own something, like, hey, this is generally the direction we're going, the vision, right? This is generally, but can you make the bridge? Can you create the bridge, and you provide them the ownership keys to that? I think that's what we're going back to in terms of the significance. Like, I own this. I'm not just in a role box, right? I didn't get the job description and a title. I'm now responsible for creating something.
This outcome.
Yeah, and there's those are what we're calling nowadays, and for a long time, entrepreneurs. Somebody who has this capacity within a company to create and help and work alongside the CEO to build that bridge. Years ago, I focused a lot on emotional intelligence, and I'm hearing all the components that I love. At least I have 5 of them that I like to talk about. But Elena, you talked about the 5th that is seldom talked about. I often talk about the importance of vulnerability. Like a CEO and a leader needs to be curious and let go of what they think they know in order to grow. The other one is vision. Obviously, Elena, you talked about that. The other one is voice, right? Can you articulate where it is that you want to go?
Right.
Values, right? What are the values that we all believe together, but may have a different expression of them? And finally, what I heard was the validation. Like when you trot out the motions in order to get to where you want to go, the validation from your team, your customer, and the capacity to then be vulnerable, again, this cycle to grow, it just feeds it, is where that founder fit, that EQ grows, I believe. And it's called many different things, but I think we've touched on them all here today.
And I love this idea of intrapreneur. That actually struck a chord because that's essentially what I did at Amazon, right? I'm working at Amazon. I was actually in business development for Aurora Postgres database. That was actually my job, believe it or not, helping people move off of, a commercial database onto open source. And it was during that time that I created a movement where I saw the need and I realized that the thing holding people back from becoming the best that they could be was not IQ, it was EQ. And so it started with me basically giving talks here and there. And it grew into this community of 70,000 people within Amazon that eventually impacted hundreds of thousands. And, working with senior leaders to help them realize the value of it and then scaling it and growing it to the point that, now then we started offering to customers and C-level executives. But what you said was really fascinating, right? This idea of shifting sort of culture, because, when you're sort of founding a company, you do have the ability to determine if you do it right. But now I'm working with companies that are literally hundreds of thousands of people, and they need to change their culture into a more adaptable, more innovative, more resilient, more empathetic one. And that's a lot of work. Like that's turning an aircraft carrier, not just like a little boat. And so that's a lot of the work that I've been doing. And it's possible, but you do have to have a lot of self-awareness, vulnerability, motivation, all the things that you talked about.
Yeah.
It's a lot of inner work, though, is also what I'm hearing here is, we're so, I think the culture has rewarded this performative nature of I can get up there, I can be resilient, I can work 996, whatever the old things are here. But it really is about, if I think about the things that we talk about with Simon Sinek, for example, he always talks about why, how, and what, that golden circle. And I think the thing that always comes back when we have these conversations is there's also another outer circle there that is the who. It matters just as much as the why, the how, and the what of the company is who is there. And that's how you can be business first and people centric. Sometimes they're like, no, it's either business or it's people. Actually, it's not. Even at the very nucleus mitochondrial level of a company, all the way to the huge hundreds of thousands of employees.
What did you say?
I just went to biology, man. I don't know, man. We just went there.
Microbiology
I'm a comm major. Don't use those big words or anything.
I love it.
But I mean, it's like the little particles of what makes up the initial formation of executing on a vision, right? With that founder circle, the first 3, 10, 5, whatever employees. It affects what happens to the lineage of whatever that company or that idea becomes. And it's inner work is what I'm hearing from both Richard and Elena.
I want to come back to one thing. When you're doing the work, when you're disruptive, right? Whether it's challenging yourself, building a company, disrupting a market, communicating with your team is going to have conflict. Rich, you talked a little bit earlier, and I want you all to chime in on this, and we're going to then finish it up with, and
then we're going to argue.
And then we're going to get in a fight. Yeah. And then it's going to be a royal rumble.
That's right.
You talked earlier about repair.
Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about when co-founders get into it and have conflict. When a CEO or solopreneur, even the team needs to repair from just the grind of building a company.
Yeah.
What does this idea of repair look like interpersonally, from a professional perspective? You dropped the word earlier. What are some things we can do to repair?
Yeah, so that word actually means many different things. First of all, it's repairing our own selves in terms of our ability to have energy and continue to move forward. Because, let's face it, burnout is a huge challenge. And so we need time to sort of repair, recover throughout our days, throughout our weeks. And when, as much as we need to have a productivity or achievement plan, we also need some kind of recovery plan so that we can actually give ourselves back energy and get the rest we need
Yeah.
so that we can function optimally, right? So there's sort of self-repair. But then when it comes to relationship repair, there's some really basic things that people just don't even understand how to do. Like this works for marriage, works for any relationship, works for founders. And one of the most powerful things that I found is that stating your intent is actually really important. Like we assume that people know, hey, well, I'm coming from a good place, or, you know, we're after the same thing, but just literally saying, hey, I know we both really care about the success of this company. I know we're really trying to solve the challenge of our customers in the best way possible. I know we really actually care about each other, but here's a challenge that we're facing. So stating our intent actually really makes a big, big difference. And then the other thing I'd say is being willing to be curious and listen. A lot of times people get in disagreements because they're listening to respond and show the other person they're wrong rather than genuinely trying to understand what they're saying. And so 3 simple words that are so powerful that are probably not used enough are just tell me more. When you're in a conflict, one of the best things you can do is replace that anger with curiosity.
Yep.
And this is what actually hostage negotiators do when they're dealing with hostage takers. They're like, let me not just be mad at this person, let me replace with curiosity. And that gives them a much higher probability of being able to get those hostages out.
I love that. 2 things come to my mind. One of my biggest leaps in terms of communication strategies, always assume the positive intention in others. So no matter how destructive it may be or grand it may, there's a positive intention. In other words, they justified it within themselves because they have an inner value system that is driving them towards this thing. And then I actually heard something today that was really interesting on the other side of the spectrum. It's that when manipulators are trying to remove or ignore intent, you're being controlled. And so it's validating on both ends, where it's like, in order to connect with somebody, understand their positive intention.
Yeah.
Look for it.
Yeah.
But if you don't understand somebody's intention and you're ignoring it or not hearing
You're
it,
controlling it.
chances are you're probably in a controlled or trying to keep yourself in a safe
Or
state.
protection mode.
Or protection
You're
mode, yeah. Because you got to look at
Yeah.
positive intention in your own self.
There's a nerdy thing that I actually like to say to people, that when you interact with others, use the human API, and that means
Give it
assume
to me.
positive intent.
Assume positive
As we're
intent. Yeah.
interacting
Love
and
it.
interfacing with other human beings, the human APIs, assume positive intent, because really most people do.
Yeah.
Now some people don't, and if they prove otherwise, then hey, we got to sort of figure out how to interact there. But if we do that, we will have a higher probability of a positive outcome.
So
And I think also like not weaponizing intent. Like that was not my intention, because we'll hear that sometimes, right?
Yeah.
And so how do you bring to the present moment, there is an intent and here's the impact?
Intent and impact. Oh, that's
Because
good.
those are things also that I think being able to be aware of, self-aware that I did have this intent
Yeah.
and I also had this impact. So what do I need to do to make sure that I balance that the next time around? How can I get curious for myself to do that inner work?
Yeah,
I
and
think
you
that's
take
important too.
both into consideration.
Yeah. So, Elena, you've been working so diligently for years on your companies. How are you repairing? How are you staying balanced with all that you've built and all that you're growing now?
When it comes to conflict, obviously you got to listen. You have to listen, and you have to really try to understand person's perspective. We all sometimes have this tendency of like, what you say, it's not what this person might have heard. So you need to ask for what you've heard.
What did you hear?
Especially when you have employees in different countries, when you have customers in different countries, there's so much like nuance that you have to be considerate of. So you have to try to again like understand people at like where they are, and try to be empathetic and try to really listen to them and try to understand like what led them. And again, they might have like so many reasons. And if you made a mistake, it doesn't matter if that was your intent or you made a mistake and the impact was not so great. Apologize for that, and ask what will it take to like move forward.
That's
so
right.
I think it's always important to again like not to think that you know everything and you're like your truth is like the truth. Try to find the truth by asking people and trusting them that they have the best intent possible. And also but at the same time, if someone shows wrong content towards like my team members, whether the impact or intent was not great, I can be also like super protective and
the sixth V right there is vengeance. I will get you. I will.
And after all the V's, we go to victory.
Yeah,
that is also important because not everyone will have the best intent.
Right.
And when it comes to your team members, you have to protect them and protect their work environment and making sure that like they are happy.
Yeah, I love this. So
Yeah. I like what she said around the what needs to be true for us to move forward.
Yep.
I think intent, impact, all is said and done, but what needs to be true for us to move forward, which brings back to how do you repair? Can be in a question. Tell me more. What needs to be true for us to move forward?
Yeah.
yeah,
And that's actually a really powerful thing because when the emotions are high and people are, like sort of maybe hijacked by their amygdala, which is, causing them to have that threat response.
By the way, her name is Amy G. DLA. Amy G. We always say that. Amy G has got me.
So when Amy G has you in her grips, one of the things that we can do that can sort of shortcut that sort of hijack is that very question. Hey, what needs to be true to move forward? How can we actually move forward from here?
That's right.
Because you actually engage the thinking part, your prefrontal cortex, so you're not just sort of all emotional.
Yeah.
And one interesting thing that I actually find that if you're really feeling a heightened emotion, big feelings, if you just wait 6 seconds, there's a higher probability of a good outcome. Here's why. Because when Amy G gets you, it takes about 6 seconds before your prefrontal cortex naturally comes back online.
Yeah, because it's so chill.
That's right. So, I mean, you've heard count to 10 if you're really angry. That's about 6 seconds. So, you get that flaming email. Somebody says something that offends you. Somebody says something that really gets your goat. You just wait a few seconds. It can actually be a lot better.
and just for those of you who are good on numbers, it's not so much the 6 seconds that matters. It's the capacity just to pause.
Yeah.
Right. If you have the capacity to breathe and pause, then you're not going to fly off that emotional handle and say, "Oop, I wish I could just take back what I just said or did." Yeah. So I definitely want to start to wrap this up. This has been a great conversation. As I learn more and more about both of you, I want to keep going, but I have to ask. And Rich, I'll start with you next. You're starting your new company. This company's maybe been around for a while, but you're officially now really launching this consulting, which I think is really, really needed, especially for founders. So if you're a founder out there, you got to connect with Rich. And so I'm going to ask you the two questions. How can people connect with you, and what's next for you?
Yeah, the best way to connect with me is you can either direct message me on LinkedIn, or you can go to my website, Richard Hua. That's RichardHua.co, and you can find out more about me. I do keynotes, I do consulting, coaching, advising, workshops, all sorts of stuff. So what's next is my goal is to bring emotional, social competencies along with IQ, the EPIQ skill set, to 1 billion people. That's my goal. I really believe the world will be better and people will be happier, healthier, and more successful, and probably kinder in the process if they can actually all develop these skills. And so through my own work, through a massive community that I'm building of change agents that are wanting to bring this to other parts of the world and their spheres of influence, and then also through AI technology that I'm working with some companies to be able to hyperscale these skills. So that's the vision. And I can imagine a larger percentage of the world with more of these skills so that they can, optimize themselves, but also help other people be able to find success.
I see Brian looking at your website. That's a great picture.
Thank you for pointing that out, Brian. I now have to put it on the screen so everybody can see it.
I don't have my glasses.
To take the company to 1 billion of ARR. annual recurring revenue for those who was wondering. My job is to create the best employee experience for customers all around the world, for users all around the world. Like that's, it's something that I've been working on for the past 20 years, and that's where I see my, my mission. I am very excited for what, we have, what we've planned this year. We had a great year, in 2025. We grew 6.8 times. My expectation is that we're going to grow another 5 times. Which means, again, more and more customers, more and more employees. It's all, great when you try to implement all of that, we've been talking about when you have a smaller business, but when your company is going through a rapid growth. I would say that my job is also to make sure that we will stick to all these principles while we are rapidly scaling. And I'm very excited. It's been a great year last year, and I have an expectation that it's going to be even better this one.
And so how can people connect with you?
Absolutely. So you can check our website, www.inspace.app, or you can email me at ceo@inspace.app, or find me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to chat and excited to continue the conversation.
I love it. It sounds like a good place for you to connect with people would be Transform and the IIT Global Conference.
That's right.
I think
that's coming up in April.
That's coming up, yeah. So if you are all curious about IIT 2026, go to iit2026.org. AJ, you and I are going to be there.
We will
hosting.
Be ushering in the spirit of all the future coming in.
Yeah, and we're going to be doing a lot more of that because you and I are going to be on stage.
A lot, yeah.
So we're looking to, bring again that possibility of engagement and building trust.
That's right.
With the organizations that we represent and the audience. That's really what these conferences are all about. Building relationships, building community.
That's right.
And ultimately growing together because it is a global marketplace. And we're all on this planet together, so we might as well become friends in the process.
That's right. I mean, you'll see me in a couple things as well, like the one that we will do at Stack. We have another. We have another
next week. I mean, last week.
The one we'll do last week at Stack.
Yeah.
And then also March 5th, which is a funded female summit that's happening, funded female founder summit that's happening in San Francisco.
Okay.
With Mabel and Mabel Chan from Super Connector and James G from Startup Grind. That's happening as well. And of course, like you said, Transform. I'll be at the award stage and the Pitch for the Future event. So we'll both be there.
Yeah.
Doing all the things.
So check out, is it transform.us?
Transform.us, actually.
Transform.us. Love to see you both there. Love to both have you both out at Stack. Check out the building.
Last week.
Yeah, last week. But we're always doing events. So we'll schedule that to have you guys out there. I mean, you're going to be, you said Elena, you're going to be out there tomorrow? Okay, good. Look forward to see you. Got to have you both on one of our panels.
Love to do it.
Giving workshops and stuff.
I'd love to do it.
All right, did we cover everything? I think we covered everything.
And the ad fairy, too.
Yeah,
we got to give it up for the ad fairy.
Woo, Brian, thank you.
Just a quick shout out again to our sponsors, Morales HR and Stack Ventures. And again, if you're on YouTube, go ahead and feel free to subscribe.
We'll see you all next week.
Thank you all for being here. Appreciate you.
Thank you. You're all just amazing.
All right, don't move. I'm going to take some pictures of you guys.
Oh, yeah.